Level 5, Unit 14, subtracting 1 or 2-digit numbers from 2-digit numbers. Unit 14.1, subtract from numbers up to 55. Example A, we have 42 minus 23. Starting with the ones column, you cannot subtract 3 from 2. So we're going to come over here to the tens column and borrow from that 4. We're going to make it a 3 because we only need to borrow 1 10. We take that 1 10 and add it to the 2 to make 12. Now we can subtract 12 minus 3 is 9, and in our tens column, 3 minus 2 is 1 for an answer of 19. Let's look at example B. We have a number that we need to fill in. So we have to go ahead and follow the process of subtracting. Now if we look here, it says 0, 5, 5. Well, we know that you can't take 5 from 0 and get a 5. But if we think backwards, 5 plus 5 is 10. That's where the 0 comes from. That means we ended up having to borrow from that 4 and make it a 3 in order to make that a 10. So now I can say, okay, 3 minus what number equals 2? Well, that means that that missing number is a 1. Unit 14.2, subtract from numbers up to 65. Example A. We have another missing number to fill in here, so let's go through our subtraction process. We know that you can't take 8 from 3 and get a 5. We do know that if we work backwards and that we add 8 and 5, that does give us 13. That's where the 3 comes from, which means once again we borrowed from this number over here that we don't quite know yet. We know we borrowed and made that a 13. Now if we look in the tens column, we have an answer of 1. And the only way we could get an answer of 1 by subtracting 1 is if this number started off as a 2. But remember, we borrowed. So even though it was 2 minus 1 is 1, the number inside the box was a 3 as our missing number. Let's move down to Unit 14.3, subtracting from numbers up to 75. Let's look at example A. 59 minus 20. We subtract the ones column. 9 minus 0 is 9. We subtract the tens column. 5 minus 2 is 3 for an answer of 39. Let's look at example B. We have a missing number we need to fill in. So if we ask ourselves 3 minus what number equals 3, we know pretty quickly that you don't take anything away, so the answer is 0. Unit 14.4. Subtract from numbers up to 85. Let's look at example A. We have another missing number here, and this is one that we have to really think about. If we look at our ones column, you can't take 5 from 2 and get 7. But we do know that if you add 7 plus 5 and work up, that gives you 12. So once again, we've borrowed from this number that we're not quite sure what it is. Well, when you add together what you have in the tens column, 1 plus 4, it was a 5. But remember, we borrowed 1, so the number that is missing is actually a 6. Let's look at example B. 64 minus 8. Okay, that 8 is underneath the 4, but you can't subtract 8 from 4. So we borrow from the 6, make it a 5, make the 4 a 14. Now we have 14 minus 8, which is 6. We bring down the 5 for an answer of 56. Unit 14.5. Subtract from numbers up to 95. Let's look at example A. If we look at our ones column, you cannot subtract 8 from 1. So we borrow from the 5 and make it a 4. Take that 10, add it to the 1, make it an 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. 4 minus 2 is 2 for a final answer of 23.